There was me. That is movie lover Warren 20 in my DVD shelf studio, and I sat in my studio trying to make up what movie I would be reviewing today. A Clockwork Orange was the movie I chose, which is what I watched. This would sharpen up and make me ready for some ultra violence. Hey everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review, and this movie review is going to be for one of my favorite movies of all time in cinema, a film from 1971, and what is easily just an iconic work of art. It's one of the most iconic movies that anyone that's just interested in film is always known to love and put on their favorite movies of all time list. You're pretty much bound to see this movie in a lot of all-time favorite movies lists. This is just one of the greatest movies of all time in cinema, and that is for none other than Ron Shelf. All right, and that is none other than Stanley Kubrick's most iconic masterpiece of all time, and that is A Clockwork Orange. Now, before I get into the review, I'll explain the plot of the movie. In an England of the future, Alex, played by Malcolm McDowell, and his Droog spend their nights getting high at the Corova Milk Bar before embarking on a little bit of the old ultra-violence. While jollily warbling Singing in the Rain, after he's caught and jailed for bludgeoning the cat lady to death, Alex admits to behavior modification technique to earn his freedom. He's conditioned to abhor violence. Returned to the world defenseless, Alex becomes the victim of his prior victims. There's the plot of the movie. So, how this all started? I remember seeing the cover for this movie at Blockbuster all the time as a kid, and I was always so curious about this movie. However, I was never allowed to watch it because of how controversial and violent it really is. But I was always just very curious about this one movie and why it was praised by the whole world so much. So eventually, the beginning of the most dreaded year of my life before 2020, 2017, had started, and I had finally watched this movie then. And I gotta say, this would easily have to be the best film that Stanley Kubrick ever made. People can say 2001: A Space Odyssey is their favorite, or The Shining's their favorite, or even Full Metal Jacket is their favorite, but me personally, my favorite one is always A Clockwork Orange. It is just, it's a little dark, it's a little violent, it's pretty shocking, but it's just a very amazing film. Just an amazing work of art from start to finish, and this is pretty much a film that's perfectly just watchable just about to anybody that's pretty much willing to become a filmmaker. A lot of YouTube critics always put this among their favorite movies of all time, and you can literally see why if you ever watch this film. Here are the good qualities of this movie and why this movie is so good. For example, there's some nicely done performances, especially from the great legendary Malcolm McDowell as Alex DeLarge. In fact, this would probably have to be his best role of his career. And some very excellent cinematography too. There's some interesting, well-developed characters too, like Alex DeLarge, the protagonist. He's this sociopathic criminal with an addiction to the danger and thrill he gets from committing crimes. And then there's Mr. Frank Alexander, a writer who, after Alex's treatment as a and is assaulted by Dim and Billy Boy, he finds Alexander, who helps Alex recover with the intention of using him to remove the current government for power by forcing Alex to suicide. It also should be noted like how his character is a reflection of Anthony Burgess within the book. Some memorable moments, like such as the orgy scene while the Lone Ranger theme song plays in the background and Alex's eye torture scene. AK, you know that iconic scene where they pop open his eyelids? And yeah, that one. And while it's not 100% loyal to Anthony Burgess's novel the same name, just guys, this is another Stanley Kubrick film that's actually based off a novel before another certain one came out. It happens to be loyal to the book from time to time. And let's not forget the infamous singing in the rain, infamously haunting singing in the rain scene, aka the scene where Alex sings singing in the rain while he basically rapes the writer's wife, or I think later kills her or something, but yeah, that scene. And the fight scenes are very entertaining and intense, there's even a few relatable references here and there. I mean, and given how long ago this movie was made, the fact they still hold up and remain easy to sympathize with to this day is no short remarkable. There's some really nice costumes as with Alex and his gang. Like they even have these like long noses they wear, and these hats and these white like jumpsuits. Like they're pretty cool suits, guys. And there's even some over the top moments with Alex and his gang that do come off as extremely hilarious and unforgettable. The poster is well drawn, like this. That fastest triangle has Alex inside of it, wielding a knife with an eyeball on his wrist and with an image of his wife below him. It's pretty iconic due to how detailed and descriptive of the movie it is. Not to mention how it's, as previously mentioned, very well drawn. Yeah, that's exactly why this movie is just very iconic. However, there are some bad qualities I do have, but I can easily forgive them a little bit. But here are the bad qualities I kind of have in this movie. Because now for the bad qualities, kind of much like, remember when Stanley Kubrick directed The Shining in 1980, about almost 10 years after this movie? Well, much like Stephen King's reaction to Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining in 1980, because we all remember he hated it, Anthony Burgess, the author of the book this film was based on, hated this movie too because it wasn't fully loyal to his novel. Alex and his droogs often do juvenile things that would get them punished. And I don't really get the scene where Alex's droogs just randomly turn on Alex and torture for no reason. Like, when he gets out of prison, they just randomly decide, they encounter him and they just randomly torture him for, no reason. Like, there's no explanation as to why they decided to go against him or anything. I kind of wish they kind of explained that a little bit. And it can get very sexual at times, making it kind of feel like a pornographic film, but this is set in the 1970s, guys, back when there were so many controversial stuff released in theaters. And speaking of controversials, it caused a lot of controversies and was even banned for a short time. Like, it was banned in Ireland, Singapore, South Africa, South Korea, and even the United Kingdom. Yeah, because back then, this movie was considered way too controversial, but now it's regarded as an iconic classic film despite all its controversies, and just a very influential film to several film goers around the world. Because despite those bad qualities, I always consider this one of my all-time favorite movies in cinematic history. It's just one of the most iconic films of our generation. Easily to me, it's Kubrick's best film he ever made. Like, this is such an amazing work of art, too. So even though if you don't really like stomach violence or like extreme controversial content, I still recommend you highly watch this if you're a big movie buff, because once I said, it's hard to get through, but it's real disturbing, but it's a cinematic masterpiece, and it's just easily worth adding to your collection. So please go and buy this movie whenever you find it, if you're a big movie buff. But until then, here's how I'm going to rank A Clockwork Orange. I am going to give A Clockwork Orange a 10 out of 10. And there we go. Now I finally covered the best Stanley Kubrick movie of all time. Been long waiting to review this one for a long time, and I finally did it. So yeah. But until then, Christmas movie review season 2 will come out be coming up, but I will not be posting an intro for it or a trailer for it. It'll kind of be just like the intro for last year's, but this year there will be some films I did forget to do, like the rest of the Home Alone sequels and the Black Christmas 2019 remake. Kill me now, please. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of bad ones I didn't do last year, but on the bright side, there will also be Christmas specials, which will be at least good side. At least there will be some good things, but yeah, until then, that'll be it for this video. Thank y'all for watching. And if you like this and want to see more, then don't forget to like and subscribe to Movie Lover 120.